Hey guys, what's up? Today we're going to talk a bunch of crap. Today we're going to talk about a composting toilet versus a regular toilet on our boat, why we did it, and how how it works and that kind of stuff. We bought the boat about 11 years ago, and for about the first 7 years we had a regular toilet, or a head is it's called on a boat. And to be honest with you, we hated it. It was horrible. First of all, the smell was terrible.
Stinky.
Yeah, it was horrible. The hoses smelled, the bucket smelled, the canister, whatever. It all was terrible. So the problem is we didn't know we had options until we found the Wynns, and I'll throw a link below. They, at the time, I think they're on a catamaran now, but at the time they were on an RV, and they did a review or a question and answer series, basically,
Right.
On composting heads, and we thought, man, we got to check that out. So,
We researched it.
We checked it out, researched it, and we thought, man, we want one of those. So we looked at different types of heads. We looked at different brands, the different makes and different types, and to be honest with you, pretty much all of them work the same way. I mean, you've got your waste and your urine is separated, which is the most important part.
That's the main part of
I'll talk about that later, but those, they all do pretty much the same thing. So basically for us, it was quality and price. I'm a cheapskate, so I like good quality at a cheap price.
Something that's easy to fix.
Right. So most of those are fairly expensive. But we did find one that fit our budget, and it did exactly what we needed it to do, and they specialized in sailboats. So, hey, we checked them out. It's Sea Head, and I'll put the link for them below. And we just fell in love with the toilet when we looked at it, and we thought, wow, we're going to try this. So we bought one. First of all, we said one reason. There's a couple of reasons, though, on why we wanted to change. Number one, of course, was the smell. We hated the smell. Number two was the removal of the waste. In order to remove it from a standard head, it goes into a waste tank and you hold it on your boat, and you have to go to a pumping station so they can suck it out. Now here's the problem. Those pumping stations keep going out of business. So removing the waste was kind of a problem. The last thing was that we didn't know this at the time, but when those two things mixed together, number one and number two, they make toxic waste, and toxic waste is not what I want on my boat.
Especially under our bed.
The tank is under our bed, so when I found out that that was actually toxic waste, I kind of wanted to research that a little bit, and y'all, it really is. It creates a toxic waste. That stuff will hurt you. So that was enough for us to know that we needed to make a change. So how was composting heads different? First of all, the smell. On my worst day on a composting head, it smells nothing like waste. It's, in a standard head. Absolutely nothing like. Number one, I don't have any hoses going anywhere for it to seep out of. After a while, a standard head, those hoses, that waste that stays in there, because it is toxic and those fumes are toxic, they come out of those hoses, which is why you have to replace them all the time.
They permeate plastic eventually.
It's horrible. Number two, the removal system. On a compost head, all you have to do is basically empty a bucket in a nice thick plastic bag, pour in some bleach or vinegar, pour that in, about a half a cup, and that starts the composting process for that stuff, and tie it up. I just tie mine in a knot. I don't even get any other product. And then you just drop it in to a waste container, or a dumpster or something like that. When we're out on the hook and we're out at sea, we have a bigger bucket that it all goes in for composting, and it sits on the deck, and every couple of weeks or whenever we go in to get water or whatever, we just dump it in it, take it, put it in a plastic bag,
garbage,
and put it with our garbage and throw it away like anything else. At this point, I'm sure some of you guys are going, you throw your poop in the trash? Trust me, where that goes is a lot better than where yours is going. Look at it this way. Cats and dogs. When you pick that stuff up, or you put the litter box out, and the litter out rather, where does all that go? But let's talk about the urine bottle, because on ours there's a bottle. You know, the waste goes into a bucket and the urine goes into a bottle, a jug, a 1 gallon jug, a water jug. All we do with that is just dump it somewhere. You can dump it in the trees, you can dump it in the woods, because it's not mixed. A lot of people have this misconception, oh, that's going to ruin this. Let me tell you something. I know people that seek out urine to put in their gardens and stuff. Well, I don't know them, I know of them. If you're in a house or a tiny house and you want to compost, you can use that compost for your garden and your urine for the garden, and it will actually help the soil multiple times over. Last but not least, and we've kind of touched on this, is the toxic waste portion of this. There isn't none. There's absolutely no toxicity when you keep those two
Separate.
materials separate. It's when you combine them that it makes it toxic. So therefore, no toxic waste on our boat. And y'all, that was pretty dang on awesome. Okay, so how does a composting head work? Well, on a normal head, you bring in seawater and it rinses it out either off off the boat, or into a container like we talked about.
A holding tank.
Holding tank. Composting needs a couple of different things to happen. It needs, your waste, and it needs a substrate.
Some sort of material.
Some type of substrate. There are multiple types of substrates. Shavings, dust, sawdust, pellets, coconut coir, mulch, different, which is just a bigger type of shaving. Just to name a few. There are others, but nonetheless, some of the stuff that we've tried. Okay, so during editing, I realized that my sound on the audio jack had somehow messed up. I'm not sure. We lost audio halfway through it, but the camera's audio is not too bad, so you'll get some wind sound. I apologize to that. Anyway, let's get back to it. Okay, so one of the first things we tried was what was the first thing that we ended up using? Pine shavings. So the cool part about pine shavings is you can buy them anywhere, and they're really cheap. $6 or $7. You can buy a huge bag of it and store that on board. You only use about half a gallon, maybe a gallon, half a gallon to a gallon per week, roughly, is what we go through. Pellets we haven't tried yet. So, I mean, comment below if you want us to put out, a small video, try the pellets.
Or if you've tried them.
Or, yeah, tell us if you've tried them, tell us about it, because I can't find anything on them anywhere as far as substrate other than like in pet stuff. Sawdust, now we love sawdust. Sawdust, number one, okay, think of the difference in size between shavings and sawdust. Shavings will only cover so much and absorb so much, as to where sawdust covers a lot more and it will absorb a lot more. So sawdust,
a barrier between the air.
Right. So the sawdust is like idea. The problem with sawdust is it's hard to find. If you have somebody that you can go get sawdust from, like a wood shop or something like that, oh, that is worth its weight in gold, I'll tell you. To buy sawdust online is ridiculous. I guess they figured out it's good substrate or something. I don't know, but it's kind of expensive, and it's just like I said, it's really hard to come across. There are places I can go to get sawdust. I can get it for free. However, most of that is kept outside, and the work that you have to do to dry it out and set it out.
You really don't want bugs in your toilet.
Right, and if you're on the hook, if you're out on the water for any given amount of time, you're not going to be able to put this stuff all over your boat and dry it out. Mulch, I don't suggest it. I'm just going to go over it real quick. Mulch is really big and bulky and could possibly hurt your composting.
Again, bugs.
Yeah, again. Now, one I didn't mention yet is moss. What is it?
Peat moss.
Peat moss. We've used peat moss. A lot of people like peat moss. It worked really well, but it was so earthy smelling. It's like pooping in mud and smelling it with mud.
It was we used, but
it could have been.
Yeah.
Didn't
like it.
Wasn't a big fan, but I know a lot of people that use it and love to use it. So don't put that out, just yet. If you want to give it a try, by all means, give it a shot. Coconut coir, our favorite, for a number of reasons. Number one, coconut coir is amazingly,
the consistency of sawdust.
Right, but it's twice as absorbent. Coconut coir absorbs water so much. I don't know what the ratio is, but it's huge.
versus sawdust. So coconut coir is absolutely fantastic. Comes in two different varieties. It comes already shredded and in a dust form in a huge bag. And it comes in bricks, which you can break up and
Compressed.
it's compressed brick. Now, on a boat or an RV or a tiny house, the bricks are ideal because you can put them anywhere. They're small. They're a brick for a reason. They are about the size of a house brick, not the block, but an actual red house brick. They're about that size. And they're almost as hard.
Longer, but yeah.
So breaking those up can be a chore. We've used coconut coir along with shavings and had great success. The coconut coir actually absorbs the shaving, the moisture rather.
It's wet.
Right, and it absorbs the moisture really well and keeps it nice and dry. And the shavings kind of just add to that. So, in other words, if you put full coconut coir in there, then you got more money than I got. That's just all there is to it. It can get expensive, but it does go a long way. So, you know, it does. It's the best substrate that I think there is. But that's not what we use. We use cedar shavings that you can buy in any pet store, and we were going to use coconut coir, but then I got this wild hair up my butt, and I thought, man, let's find some cedar sawdust. That would be perfect.
That's impossible.
Cedar has a natural deodorant. It's fantastic for that reason. That's why a lot of people use it in closets and those kind of things. No bugs. Bugs don't like cedar at all. And that's hope chest and those kind of things. That's why you don't get any moths or anything like that in them. And finally, it's cheap. Cedar shavings are very cheap. You can buy cedar anywhere. Just like the pine bedding, it's anywhere and it's really cheap. Some stores actually sell it cheaper than the pine. Here's the kicker though. It's
size.
Shavings are a little bit too big. So I wanted sawdust, like I said, and I looked all over for sawdust and I could not find sawdust anywhere. So
Conveniently or cheaply.
Right, so I thought, you know what? I'm gonna make my own. So I did. I made my own sawdust, but I had to be a little bit creative. Here, check this out.
I got you on my radar, it's a beauty. A little dot on the screen and it hits me. I will never let you out of sight. That's my mission. That's my mission tonight. I got something you really can't handle. A little charge in your heart, ready to dismantle. I will never let you out of sight. That's my mission. That's my mission tonight. Do you know what it means that we're the same kind? The desire you feel isn't the same as mine. I could let you go, but why should I? You're my mission, and on my mission tonight. You're nothing but mine. And the sooner you realize that for all the time, I'm the one you can't sacrifice. I'm the first and the last you ever get. So get off that high horse and beat it.
If you guys like that, it took me about a day and a half to build that. Wasn't very complicated. I do have a whole lot of footage for that, and I can do a complete build video on that, but comment below if you guys want to see the build video on that or you think it might help you. Anybody out there says, you know, hey, I want to see that, teach me how to do that, just let me know. A lot of the footage you just saw, you could probably figure out how I put it together in that way. I will tell you that complete build, buying everything brand new minus the dust, or minus the chips, everything brand new was about $24. Very cheap to do, and it's all stainless and aluminum, so it's not going to rust or do anything like that. The most common questions I get about this is, number one, is this legal? Yes. Everywhere in the current U.S., now I don't know about other countries, but everywhere in the current U.S. that I know of, it is perfectly legal to compost. I'd like to see everybody get into it, of course.
If we
but
had a house, we definitely.
I would. I'd replace,
compost
dude. I'd replace my toilet with a composting head like that, and then we'd have an amazing flower garden. Yeah. One of the next big questions I get is, what about toilet tissue? Now, here's a really cool thing about composting versus standard. Toilet tissue in a house, you have to buy a certain type, or maybe certain type clogs up your pipes or whatever, you can buy the cheapest toilet tissue you need, like overall. Use as much of it as you
Or
want.
whichever one you like.
Right, because here's the thing, and don't wig out. It doesn't go in the bucket. When you wipe yourself off, it goes into a separate trash bag. Don't freak out. I know a lot of people right now are just like, that's gonna stink. I ain't doing that. That smells. No, it doesn't.
We
No, it
thought
doesn't.
so when we first moved on a boat too.
I was amazed to see how much it did not stink. I really thought, man, this is gonna be. People said, no, it doesn't stink at all. It's fine. Honestly, I was way impressed. We wipe and we put it in a bag, and we take that bag every morning, and we do our cat litter pan. It goes in that bag, and then we take that bag out. It's that simple. Why don't you put toilet paper in the bucket? The biggest and only reason, it doesn't churn.
Right.
I don't know why. I don't know why. When you put toilet paper into the bucket, it stays on top, and it doesn't. It just stays there. So eventually, if you keep putting it in there, you're going to have a layer of substrate, and you're going to have to clean it out anyway. So yeah, just throw it in a trash bag by itself. We set a little trash bag next to it. Throw it in the trash bag once a day or whatever. Just take it out with whatever you're taking out. Because on a small, tiny house or an RV or a boat,
You're picking up every day anyway.
right. So how expensive is it?
One of the best rules on a boat is you want everything to be as simple as possible so it's easy to fix if something breaks.
KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. 10 years in the military, I learned nothing. Keep it simple, stupid. How much do we spend a month on our composting head? $4. Maybe $4. That's including the new jug every once a month.
Maybe six if you include the paper towels that I use to clean it.
We're not talking about paper towels. Well, that's true. Paper towels to clean it. Yeah. So maybe $6 or $7 a month total is what we use, and that's keeping everything tip-top shape, crystal, and
Bug-free.
right, bug-free. So anyway, I've taught you a little bit about what it is, why we do it, how we found out about it, different types of ways of doing it, and we've kind of gone over all that. But if there's anything we missed or that you really want to know, go watch that Wynns video again. Can't promote that enough. And if you do have a question about it, you want it answered right away, throw a comment down below, and I'll be sure to answer it. We answer all our comments the best we can. Actually, with this many subscribers, we really can answer pretty much every comment we come along. If everybody that watches this comments a question, I guarantee you I'll answer it within 10 minutes of you sending it to me, even if they do it, if y'all do it at the same time. Guys, thanks for watching. I hope it answered your questions. Like, comment, share,
Subscribe.
and as always, go be awesome.
Something about poop being full of crap.